Hello, citizens of the planet. Welcome back to Monday Musings with Larry Lelli. And this past week, I was speaking with a young, upcoming professional musician here in New York City. And as I'm often known to do, you all know that I like to share my experiences and knowledge about the business with younger players who are seeking to get into the business or are curious about it, because that way they won't have to learn so much trial by fire as I had to do when I was coming up. But anyway, so I was speaking to this young person about the realities of subbing on Broadway as a musician. And the fact came up that oftentimes as a Broadway sub, it's a bit of a thankless job. In so much as you will work really, really, really hard to learn all that music, and you will go in and play a show. You will play it perfectly, just as good as the regular musician plays that show. And at the end of the show, what could happen is no one says a word to you and everybody just leaves and goes home. And so you're left there sitting without any feedback whatsoever on what you just did for perhaps the very first time, or the second time, or whatever, however many times you've subbed at that show. You might not get any kind of positive feedback or reinforcement at all, like, hey, that was great, what you did today was just wonderful, that was exactly right. It's a very strange thing to get used to for a musician, especially a musician who's going into somewhere for the first time and is expecting maybe some notes or some feedback on something. But there's the good chance that if you did well enough, no one will say anything to you. So that's why I say it's a bit of a thankless job sometimes. It's very, very high pressure. You don't get any kind of rehearsal ever, or any kind of coaching or notes or assistance. You're just expected to come in, sit down, play the music perfectly, just like the regular does, and go home just like everybody else does. So it can be a tough thing to learn, and you have to have this internal self-confidence and self-awareness to know whether you are doing a good job or not. You have to be a good enough musician to know whether you're playing with everyone and whether you're playing in the right way, with the right level of dynamics and the right style, and that you're following the conductor in the right way that orchestra has decided to follow that conductor, or that the conductor wishes for everyone to follow that person in that way. It's a very, very difficult thing. So, something to be aware of if any of you are thinking about getting into the Broadway freelance world, where you might be a sub. And I just thought that was interesting, and we had a conversation about that, because it's not something that people are really aware of. It's something I haven't found in any other musical area, really, where that's how it can go. And it can be such a high pressure job, but then people might not even acknowledge that you were even there, and that's actually a good thing. So anyway, that was my little musing for this week. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you next week.